Today I want to talk about writing income and why it can fluctuate when you're an author. Because I think there's this myth out there that people believe that either your income is going to be steady or it's always going to be up. That just isn't the truth. Sometimes it will go down. And years ago, I made this topic on a blog, and I remember I got some pushback from some authors. And one author was saying that, well, if I had just put my books on Kindle boards and told other writers about it, then my income would go up. Well, I'm going to argue that promoting books to other writers is not a good idea unless your books are geared specifically to other writers. If you're writing about topics that appeal to writers, then yes, promote to writers. But if you're writing something, okay, I write romance. Why would I want to promote my romance to writers? Yeah, there may be some writers there who like romance, but for one, they need to be writing their own books, and two, they may not actually be interested in the specific subgenre in the romance that I write. Like if I'm writing historical Western romance, then I don't see why any writer who does contemporary romance would even be interested in my work. And also, let's say there's a science fiction writer that I know. Well, that doesn't mean that they're going to want to read my romance either. What you want to do is you want to find people, like readers, actual readers, who read the specific books that you write, and those are the people you want to focus on. So I would not say that going to a writer's forum to market your books is that great of an idea. And also, there was another person who is saying that, well, if I was writing good books, I would be making more money. Okay, I'm going to say that's fair, because I am not the best writer on the planet. I get that. I have 1 and 2 star reviews, and you know what? Some of their criticism is valid. I'll give them that. But I am focusing on books that I enjoy. I write the kind of books I want to read. The kind of books I couldn't find all those years ago when I was a teenager, looking through the libraries and bookstores, those are the books I am now writing. So I write for myself first. And that does make it a little more difficult to find an audience because I'm not writing to market. See, when you're writing to market, what you're doing is you're targeting specific, you basically, when you're writing the book, you're thinking, what do they want to read? So then you have everything in your story is centered around what will please them. Now, when you're writing for passion, which is what I do, I'm just thinking, I'm the reader. What's the experience I want to have? And it makes it completely different. That doesn't mean you can't market your book effectively, like you write the book first and then you find your audience. Now, I think it's going to be a smaller niche that you're probably going to be finding unless you just happen to be passionate about stuff that's wildly popular. But finding that niche, that's the problem. Marketing's the problem. Visibility is a problem. And you know what? There is actually no solid answer. There's no one answer that I can give anybody on how to get noticed. I mean, if I knew, my books would be like #1 on all the stores too. So, I don't know what the answer is. We can guess and we can kind of see and do things and see if we like them or if we don't like them. Maybe they'll work for us, maybe they won't. But I think every author is going to have a different experience. So, but I want to talk about some of the reasons, okay, besides those couple that other people told me back then on why income may not always go up, why it may drop. And one of these reasons is the publishing industry landscape does change over time. Like I started back in 2009. This is when Smashwords on Amazon, and that was pretty much it. The Kindle was just coming out. And back then, I was just getting started. And I really didn't know what I was doing. There were other authors around me. We didn't know what we were doing. We just wanted to see our books on the Kindle and then get the Kindle and then read the books. That's all we were thinking. So we had put our books up there, and usually about 99 cents. That was the really good spot back then for selling books and getting noticed. And so that's what we did. And sales just took off. We didn't really have to do anything. We even had crappy covers. And this is before covers today, they are so professional. It's amazing how much things have changed. But anyway, then So what happened was 2009, 2010, back then it was like, oh God, you're a self-published author. I remember like some people, and I still laugh when I think about this, because some authors were trying to talk me off the ledge from self-publishing, because self-publishing was pretty much the death knell of the writing career, right? But things have changed, because around like 2012, I would say we saw like traditionally published authors, like they were now going towards self-publishing, because suddenly we all realized there was money in it. People were buying the books, and we were also, I mean, like, I think we were all surprised. I don't think anybody really anticipated it. I mean, maybe a couple people, but most people, I like, for me, I didn't see it coming. But I mean, it was a good, like, it was good, but yeah, it was a good surprise, but still a surprise. But then so all that time, and then we started, like, Barnes and Noble got on board, Apple got on board, so you got more and more retailers going ahead and taking self-published books, which they weren't before. And in 2014, and this was an industry change. So, okay, so all that, let me just back up a moment. So all that added books into the space made it so it was harder to get noticed. And this did cause, like, two of my author friends, like they were making like $30,000 a year, and then suddenly that just kind of dropped, and they weren't getting that money anymore. And the second thing that kind of hit, I think, pretty hard back in those days, like in 2014, Kindle Unlimited came out. And that was Amazon basically told authors, hey, we have a subscription service we're offering readers for about like $10 a month. And if your book is in there, then, you have a better chance of visibility in our store, because, you'll get noticed, you'll get special deals and stuff like that. But you have to be exclusive to Amazon. Now, by then I had readers that were on Barnes and Noble, Apple, and other places, Smashwords and stuff. And I didn't go in for it, because I wanted my readers who'd been with me the entire time, I wanted them to be able to get my books. But that did have an effect on my sales, because people, like readers, were going into KU, they were subscribing, and then they only wanted to read the KU books because they were saving money but not buying books, and that makes sense, right? And I had to make my decision too, and my decision was to stay wide and not go into it. Well, my income did go down after that, and my income actually never recovered, because back then I was making like $200,000 a year. And I mean, I lost, I would say, it went down to like 150 like the next year, and from there it was like 100,000. And it's just like, ever since, it just kind of like little by little, just my sales just kind of went further and further down. But I think a lot of it had to do with the burnout that I experienced, so I wasn't able to produce as many books as I used to. But other industry changes also happened around this time, and I'm sure that actually added to the drop in addition to the burnout. And what I would say, the way we promoted, the way you marketed started to change, kind of like after that 2015, like in that, I have to say 2016, 2017. This is just my viewpoint on things, my perception, and I may be a little off on the time frames of this stuff, but I started to notice it was more of a, like Amazon, like they wanted to run the ads, the keyword ads, and so authors started paying for visibility in the Amazon store. And there were also like BookBub ads. I could never get a BookBub. I was never approved for BookBub ad. Written word media. Now that's a one and done. You just buy the ad, it sets it on that day, and that's it. You don't have to watch keywords or anything like that with that kind of ad. And I did like those. And I still to this day like written word media, especially the free Booksy thing. Now that's just my thing. I think for romance, if you're in romance, that might be a good viable option. But for some people, they love running the Amazon ads where they're always adjusting their keywords. BookBub has this kind of setup too, but I've never really been interested in doing this stuff, because I'm like, I don't want to be sitting there monitoring my keywords, adjusting my keywords. That just sounds like a lot of pain, and I just don't want to do that kind of thing. And to be honest, guys, marketing is not my strength. So, I would not be the kind of person to offer really marketing advice to anybody, really. So, go to other places for that. But now we're in a day where It almost seems like you have to constantly be out there somehow, in some way, in some capacity. And this is really exhausting. Like, okay, so like we're told always, okay, I was listening to a book last month for a writing group I'm in. And I mean, I'm sure the guy's methods work great, but his thing was, if you're not, regardless of how much you're putting content online, it's not enough. You know, like several times a day, be shooting out things on Facebook, you know, X, YouTube, you know, Book Talk, TikTok, whatever, you know, just always get stuff out. And it's never enough. And he's like, and if you think you're doing too little, you're not doing enough. And always tweak your words, tweak a word here and there, tweak your graphics and see what sticks. And then you try to go viral with something. I got a headache just listening to that book because that pace was just crazy for me. I don't know how some people do it. I really don't. Because the only part I really enjoy about this writing thing is the writing itself, and also making friendships with people who read my books and enjoy them. The other stuff just doesn't interest me. But I do think if you're not engaging probably in those marketing capacities, you probably are not going to make the kind of money that you would make if you were putting in all that marketing effort, because the marketing stuff probably does pay off. So, and I'm trying to I'm just looking through my notes here and seeing what I'm missing. And oh yeah, I remember back in the early days of publishing, like one of the things was like the rapid release of the books. Like that was actually a way you could pretty much easily make money early on if you just like rapidly released. You didn't really have to do much else. But like I said, the rapid release, I don't think that works so much anymore. Although I did recently hear about an author who's putting out one book a week. And I don't know, like, are these short stories? Are these full-length books? Is this person writing the book himself? Or is AI doing it? Or is a ghostwriter doing it? It just seems hard to believe that one person all by themselves can produce one book a week. I mean, you know, and make tons and tons of money. It just seems like that would be a quick way to burn. If you're trying to do that, it just seems like that would be a recipe for burnout. And for me, I guess at the end of the day, I'm just thinking, I guess from the perspective I'm at, okay, so I started in 2009. It is now 2025, March 13th, when I'm doing this video. And one thing, I guess, because I did push myself hard, because I am a type A personality and I like to get a lot done, but I hit burnout, and burnout is a hard thing to pinpoint exactly when you're going to hit it. And I'm going to be doing more videos on burnout because I think this is an important topic that we need to be aware of as creatives. But I think 2018, 2019, somewhere in there, I was feeling the pressure, like, and I don't know how to explain it except you feel, okay, like a rubber band and you're being pulled really hard. That's how I felt. And I was really tense and I was really stressed out. And I remember, and I was doing a lot of crying because I wished I could just relax, not write, just kind of take a vacation, but I felt like I couldn't because my income was dropping and I was trying to fight it by putting more books out. So I kept pushing through it and pushing through it. Well, the day came, and I don't know if this was 2021 or 2022 because I didn't journal this, and I kind of wish I did at this point so I could pinpoint when it happened. But the day came. I sat at the computer and I just thought to myself, I hate writing. And that was terrible because never in my life have I ever thought I hated to write. And because writing was the one thing I always had, you know, ever since I was little. I always loved to create stories in my head, and this was the moment I had nothing. My brain, it was just empty. You think of like a creative well. The well was completely dry. I had no ideas. I had no words to write, and I actually got to the point where I just hated it. I wanted to walk away, and I never wanted to write another word for as long as I lived. And I think I told my husband that too. And then he said, well, that's okay because I'm working and I'll support us. So, you know, he's such a nice guy. But anyway, I did. I finally, I had to step away. And I remember I had some readers that were like, could you at least do this book? And at the time I couldn't. I really could not write the book. I just had to put everything on hold. And then it wasn't until like, okay, so we're in 2025. It wasn't until last spring in 2024 when I finally sat at the computer after being almost a year just really not doing anything, and I actually started to write. And it was hard at first. It felt so unnatural, like right away. But I will say the other side, like the more of the blog posts and stuff like that I was trying to kind of keep up with, that stuff I did kind of go kind of smoothly into, because that was more of the business end of things and that came quicker. But finally, I would say about a month or two in, and that's where I started like looking at like writers conferences again, and more for like the encouragement, support, the craft stuff. Not so much the marketing. The marketing stressed me out, and I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to worry anymore about the money. And I will say at this point in time, I am so happy. And I feel that initial passion and enthusiasm I used to have for writing back in 2009, 2010, when it was like so easy to write, that has finally returned. And to me, that is the best thing about the writing, is that feeling of this, just having that enjoyment, being with the characters and stuff. And, you know, the books that I'm writing are not for everyone, and that's okay. But the point is, I'm having fun with them. And that's really, at the end of the day, that's the most important thing I think you can take away. But that also helps buffer you from this stress and the strain of trying to make more money. I'm making less money. I'm making enough to like help pay the bills, so I supplement. But you know, if I guess that's what I'm just trying to say, it's okay. Don't feel like you're a failure if you're not making the kind of money you want to make. It's possible you're doing everything right. You could be marketing everything right. You could be writing everything right. It could just be that visibility is a problem. Your book just not getting where it needs to go. And a lot of this stuff is luck. You know, it's not all stuff we can control. So I would say just focus on the small things. If you have one person reach out, tell you they enjoy the book, thank that person. Definitely thank that person. Maybe, you know, get to build a relationship with that person. You know, just focus more on the quality of the friendships you're getting, because I think at the end of the day, that's more important than the money anyway. And I think I said this in another video, but don't beat yourself up. You know, it's just terrible that we beat ourselves up. And I think this leads us to wanting to do more, feeling the pressure to do more, and then we just stress ourselves out, and that could lead to burnout too. So I'm going to leave that here because this is like a long video.